not making a profit. It's costing us too much. Just to catch the fish. That's just going to further the famine. People are hurting their cattle because it's not benefiting them as it used to. This is all being formulated ultimately by Yahweh Bashim Shai. Yeah, you can call it a man-made famine. Esau might be the one that's pulling it up, but ultimately it's the Lord that's putting it upon the spirit of this devil to do that.
Exactly. I got precept whenever y'all ready. Con. This is Isaiah chapter 19, and let's see here. All right, verse 4, and I'll drop down. Isaiah chapter 19 and 4 says, "And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord." Okay, aka a fierce king. Okay, who's the king of Babylon the Great right now? Trump, man. Donald J. Trump. Okay. It says, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai of hosts. Okay. It says, and I'll switch over to the NLT. Okay. I'm gonna drop down to verse 8. It says, the fishermen will lament for lack of work. Those who cast hooks into the Nile will groan, and those who use nets will lose their heart. Okay. Ultimately, the individuals that's trying to you know bring in resources, food. Okay. That pain that these other nations are experiencing, people are gonna be experiencing it here as well. Okay. Um, it says there will be no flax for the harvesters, nor no thread for the weavers. They will be in despair, and all the workers will be sick at heart. Okay. So again, the individuals that are, making money over here that's of the working class is going to come to a halt here too in Babylon the Great as well. Right now, it's just, the precursor. We're seeing the precursors of, those those workings being ceased in other places. Okay. But as trade continues to decline, and what they call a geo or basically a global like recession, basically, is gonna be it's gonna be felt by everyone. Okay, y'all got it.
This is Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 16. It says, moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight and with care, and they shall drink water by measure and with astonishment.
Yeah, going into the food rationing. Whenever everything gets shut down, you're not going to be able to go into the grocery store and buy you 5 packs of 24 packs of water. 10 dozen eggs, 10 loaves of bread. No, those days, they're about to be done away with. Esau, he was about to start a rationing system. You could only get this much, this much because we don't have as many imports coming in. That's leading into just like it said in Revelation chapter 6, a measure of wheat for a penny.
Yeah.
A day's worth of work.
Well, that's already happened. Remember, there was a supply chain shortage of whatever it was, and then they would put the little sticker on the in the grocery store, one per customer. Everybody was buying, pounds of shopping carts full of toilet paper and different things, like, what I mean, everyday things. People trying to stock up on it. Okay, so imagine when the supply chain really gets cut off. What you gonna wipe your ass with? When you've been using toilet paper for decades, you don't, you know what I mean? you know? So yeah, man, these people gonna feel it, man. You know?
And you have all these doomsday preppers, the Canadian preppers, talking about go to the stores and buy everything now, prepare because of what's coming. That's leading to, the further panic buying, where people are buying in bulk, leaving the stores dry. And that's all by design as well, because you do have a lot of what's called control opposition, that's telling these people to go out there and panic buy. So when all hell breaks loose, these stores are going to already be dry.
Yeah.
And Esau, he's going to be like, we're dry. We don't have anything. You might have a shipment coming in 2 weeks, but as of now, we're out of water. We're out of bread. We're out of eggs. We're out of medications. You know, a lot of people need those medications, you know, just to function in their daily lives, but that's going to be cut out as well.
Oh, go ahead. Well, go ahead. I got something talking about medication, but go ahead.
This Second Ezra 15. I'm getting straight to the point. Verse 19. And you got it, bro. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their house with sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and for great tribulation.
Yeah, and that's the times we're coming into when all these neighbors, you know, they've been your neighbors for years. They've been looking at you bring all these groceries in. A lot of these people, they're keeping an eye out for who is bringing, you know, food in, food out, and those are just the houses they're gonna hit first. They're gonna know, oh, that house, you know, they're well stocked. You know, they're always buying groceries every 2 days, every 3 days, and then you're gonna have these dumbass preppers talking about, oh, I'm gonna be good. I don't have to worry about famine. Those are the ones that are gonna get hit first because these people they've been watching, they got their address, they got their IP addresses. They're gonna know who to hit first. These doomsday preppers, the Canadian preppers, you know, the Southern all these preppers have been talking about getting ready for this famine. Yeah, we're going on that. That was cool. You got it, I know.
Yeah. Just on this same article that I was reading earlier, another one of the things. So I'll just read out the quick list of the things that are most commonly passing through the Strait of Hormuz. Obviously, oil and petroleum byproducts, liquefied natural gas, helium, aluminum, fertilizer. Um, those are the main ones. Now, regarding helium, okay, it says 30%, about 30% of the world's helium supply comes from Qatar. Okay, so with the strait closed, that means higher prices for technology, manufacturing, and advanced medical care. So all of the like semiconductors and stuff like that, you know, the manufacture of semiconductors, helium, it says is a key input in the manufacture of semiconductors. So it says since most helium is produced as a byproduct of natural gas, that means that any problems with the production of liquid natural gas will reflect in helium as well. So the shutdown of Qatar's LNG facility also causes a shutdown of Qatar's helium production. So you know, again, semiconductors, prices of technology, and things like that can go up as well, which will affect the medical sector.
And that's another thing too. Whenever there is, you know, a blackout, and like in Cuba, those hospitals they're not keeping their patients alive like that. You know, they're not able to treat them because they don't have no electricity. They have to ration their energy, and that's what's coming to Babylon the Great too. You have all these different hospitals, all these different clinics. You know, when all that electricity gets shut off, you know, those are some of the first people that are gonna, you know, go back to the spirit world.
Mm-hmm.
Copy, say yes.
This is Psalms chapter 105. I start at 10 and then I jump down to 16. It says, I start at which covenant he made with Abraham and his oath unto Isaac, and confirmed the same unto Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant, saying, unto thee I will give the land of Canaan, the lot of your inheritance. Right? Verse 13. When they went from one nation to another, from one kingdom to another people, he suffered no man to do them wrong. Yea, he reproved kings for their sakes, saying, touch not mine anointed, and do my prophets no harm. Moreover, this is the point, he called for a famine upon the land. He brake the whole staff of bread.
Yeah, that's what we're coming into, this breaking of the staffing of bread, because famine is all throughout the scriptures. During the time of Joseph, you know, when there were 7 years of plenty, and then there were those 7 years of famine, and that plenty, it was forgotten because during the famine, like it says when in the time of prosperity or in the time of affliction, everybody forgets about their prosperity.
Right.
You know, so when all these people's stomachs are touching their backs, they're not going to remember, oh, yeah, I ate McDonald's last week. Why I ate this and that?
Yeah.
No, they're going to be thinking about where their next meal is going to come from. The majority of the world, they're not thinking like that right now, especially here in America, Babylon the Great. These people are so accustomed to eating 4, 5, 6 times a day, snacks in between. You know, they've never fasted a day in their life.
Oh yeah.
So when it finally hits them, they're going to be like, man, what the hell?
And they're, oh, my bad. Go ahead.
And that's when Esau Edom is going to come in with that solution and the RFID micro C, which is an MOTB.
Yes. Because the fact that Esau put sugar in everything, so once they're not able to, get that fix, because they're addicted to that. Once they're not able to get that fix, they're gonna bug out. They're gonna sell each other out. You know what I mean? They're gonna start, eating their pets, you know, eating, you know what I mean? Crazy shit, And then all the scoffers, because you got scoffers here. This is why I kind of like I copy Tazama. He do it the parallel way, so that way more people can click, what I'm saying, click the feed. And some scoffers. No, of course, no. That's why I'm gonna do, Lord willing, I'm gonna do a response video. It said, and you still got people commenting. It says, guy in the middle try, and this just shows you the mental state of, the average person, right? Like they don't take things seriously. You know what I mean? Why would you take something seriously if other people are suffering in other countries, but you're not suffering in your own country? Who cares, right? That's the mentality of Babylon the Great. But it says, one dude said, guy in the middle, try not to laugh. Another one said, look, it's Jewish cosplay. You got your hopes. You got your hope boys there, don't you? And then another said, you guys need some milk. So it's all like a game, like a TikTok skit to them. Like they think that this is just like a little thing. They don't understand how gravely serious this is. Okay, not until again the Lord starts judging, right? Not until the Lord starts, basically performing the things that He said He was going to do. The famine, the pestilence, the sword. Okay. Matter of fact, what's that? That's in Ezekiel 35. I'm about to see if I can find it.
Man, the laughter, that's going towards you scoffers, because like it says, the Yahweh Shema Shai is gonna laugh at their calamity through his prophets, through his men. So in that day, when the scoffers and mockers, when their stomach is touching their ribs, it's not gonna be funny no more.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna be funny when you don't have a bottle of water at the reach of your hand.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's Proverbs 19:29. It says, judgments are prepared for scorners and stripes for the back of fools. So all these people that's talking noise, that's all cool, that's cute. Talk your little shit, have your little good laugh, that's okay. The Heavenly Father is putting in most of these people's spirit to come against the prophets, like He did in past times, so He can bring judgment, man. See, the Lord wants to kill majority of the people on the planet Earth. That's what we don't understand, man. See, the Lord that we worship, He controls evil and good. And guess what? He's going to bring great evil upon Babylon the Great, being America. So majority of our people are in that spirit of following America, following the ways of wickedness. See, basically putting sin at the forefront. All this wickedness, all this evil idol worship. See, the same things being amongst each other, drugs, all this stuff. They're down with it. The little hats being in power. So eventually, how about Yahweh Shai is going to give you over into that? What's the judgment for somebody following Babylon and Great America? You down with these little hats? It's judgment, death, man. Got it, bro.
Is that Ezekiel 35:13?
Yeah, is that it?
I don't know.
I got this one here.
Okay.
In Ezekiel 25. But yeah, if it goes into it, of course, bring it out. This is
Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 13. Thus with your mouth ye have boasted against me, and have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, when the whole earth rejoiceth, I will make thee desolate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the spirit of majority of our people, the 2/3, and these heathens. They're constantly talking shit. They think that they're talking shit to the men that are pushing this word out, but really they're coming against Yahweh Shema Shai, because that's where the message comes from. It comes from the Lord. It don't come from us. It's Yahweh Shema Shai speaking through His servants, the prophets. And the Lord is telling you, scoffers, you mockers, you're gonna get judged, whatever that judgment it may be.
Yeah.
There be many spirits created for vengeance, and the main one that is coming is famine.
Yeah.
That's beautiful that you said that, because again, you're mocking, but again, that famine of the word is coming, and then you're going to be judged by the actual faith.
Yeah.
See, so you're not hearkening to the men of the Lord who are trying to warn you of the destruction of this place, so that you can get right with your power. Rather, you scoffing, and ultimately you're marking yourself. So when the Most High judges you with actual famine, then you'll know that the men of the Lord were actually, preaching the truth, man.
Yeah, just read that last verse and we'll close out.
This is Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 15. As thou didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate, so will I do unto thee. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea, even all of it.
Yeah, so this
They shall know that I am the Lord.
So this is coming towards these people in Babylon the Great. You know, these Edomites, these other nations, and these 2/3.
Right.
Because they hate and despise Yahweh Bashem Al Shai.
Mhm.
You know, but that was pretty much the point. We pray that this was edifying. We want to give all praises, honor, and glory to.
Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ba'Shem Kakwadash.
Double honors to the apostles and elders. We learned this truth from the well. Peace, salutation to the 144,000, the rest of the elect. Unto you we say shalom.
Shalom.